Galatians 5:22. It says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live by the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Amen. You may be seated. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, and today, long suffering. We've been dealing with the fruits of the Spirit because this is, or it should be, evident in your life. The love of God, the joy of God, the peace of God. We do ourselves a disservice when we, even as we talked this morning, we proclaim one thing and we act out something else. We do ourselves and God a disservice when we talk about the love of God, and yet and still we come in and we can sing and we can shout and we can pray and we can walk by folk and don't even speak to them. We can look at folk and think the worst even before we know who they are and what they're about. It's time for us to be serious about our connection with God. And so Paul tells us here that these things should be seen, they should be evident in our life. Today, my brothers and sisters, it is long-suffering or patience that we are looking at. For the most part, we look at long-suffering toward God and toward man, because we have to be long-suffering when it comes to us holding up under the trials and the troubles and the struggles that we go through, and be patient with God and allow God to do what only God can do. There's some of us, we've been through so much, and we have went through losing loved ones. We have went through loss of jobs. We went through sickness. We have went through loss of friends and loss of any people who we thought were there to support us. But yet and still, we remain faithful and we wait on God to carry us through the ordeal that we find ourselves in. And because God is long-suffering to us, we need to learn how to be long-suffering with each other. Amen. And I'm not the most patient person in the world. Sometimes I get frustrated because I don't like to wait. But I've been waiting now almost, I've been here 4 years. Amen, somebody. Just like God waits and God is long-suffering, but how many understand that there's a day when God is not going to wait any longer? And because God is long-suffering, because God is patient, it does not mean that he overlooks our sins. You have to realize that God gives us time to get it right with him. God gives us time to get ourselves together. And I don't know if you notice or not, but as we look at the world and we look at the leaders of our nations and other nations, as we look at things that are even happening in the atmosphere, we don't have time. Lord have mercy. We don't have time to play the game of church any longer. Lord have mercy. And so he says we have to be long-suffering. No one likes to wait, and I can admit that I don't like to wait either. But my brothers and sisters, the bottom line is that when we learn to wait on God, that's when God is maturing us. That's when we are developing in God. That's when we are growing in God. Because if you never have trials, if you never have some stop signs in your life that slow you down, if you never have some troubles, then you don't know what it is to wait on God. But because I got to go through some stuff in my life, because I've got to lose a loved one, and now, Lord, I'm sitting and I'm hurting, I got to wait on you because there's nothing I can do. I got to wait until you lift me back up. I got to wait until you give my strength back. I got to wait on you each day to give me the portion of empowerment I need. But if I never went through what I went through, I would have never learned how to be patient and wait on God, and discover that while I'm waiting on God, God is shaping me. God is molding me. God is making me better. Matter of fact, some of you been waiting right now, and you just need to let the devil know, look, I'm going to be better when my waiting period is over. So he says, I knew I would lose some amens this morning. And so he says, you gotta learn how to wait on God. You have to learn how to be long suffering. It should be categorized in your life. Knowing how to deal with people, give people an opportunity. Many times we throw people away too quick. Many times we reject folk too quick without giving them an opportunity, knowing good and well that God waits on us and gives us opportunity after opportunity, day in and day out. But we become impatient. You have to understand, when we talk about long suffering, it is that patience that we have in afflictions, in our difficulties, and even in persecutions. God will teach you how to wait, because we will find ourselves in situations where you can't do anything but wait. It's a situation like if you would drive your car and the tire would go flat, and you go in the trunk and the jack is not there and the spare is not there. All you can do is sit and patiently wait until your help arrives. And while I'm waiting, I'm trusting that he's on the way. And somebody in here today, God said, you just keep trusting me while you wait. I know you're down on the side of the road, but I want you to trust me and know that sooner or later that I am going to come to your rescue, because all things work together for the good of them that love him. He says, long suffering is the quality of self-restraint in the face of provocation or provoking. Lord, have mercy. Sometimes folk will try to provoke you. Long suffering is just being patient. You're thinking to yourself, God ain't through with me yet, but I'm going to try to hold my peace. I'm going to be patient. Lord, help me. Give me patience, because if I do what I want to do. And so as the enemy is trying to provoke us, we're waiting patiently for God, knowing and trusting that God is going to come through. And the more we wait, the better we get, the more we grow. So the next time, as we wait, we can be at peace, or more peaceful as we wait for God. Sometimes we'll wait and we're walking the floor and we're twisting our hands. But as we go through the process, and as God shows us that if you wait on me, I will come to your aid and to your rescue. You learn when you start waiting for God, you learn to just sit back and relax, because God has this thing under control.